Oh, bro, I don't know how I clicked on this, bitch. We got to the real reason why Trump pardoned the NBA Youngboy.
Has been arrested for attempted murder, a kidnapping, a killing in Miami.
Holy shit. This is my nigga, too. Oh, this is my nigga.
NBA.
Hey,
Youngboy
Youngboy
has been arrested for attempted murder, a kidnapping, a killing in Miami, 2 federal gun cases, and a
Jesus Christ.
60-count fraud ring. And he keeps walking out like none of it
Like
ever happened.
nothing happened. This nigga is disgusting with it. Dude, he walks out every time like nothing happened, bro. Go back.
60-count fraud ring. And he keeps walking out like none of it ever happened. Every time the walls close in, something reaches down and pulls him out. And the last time it happened, he was
different.
the President of the United States.
Yeah.
But the reason isn't luck, and it isn't good lawyers. It's a number so big that putting this man in a cell costs powerful people a fortune. And once you see it, you'll understand why they can't afford to let him fall. To answer that, we gotta go back to where it started.
For real?
Because Youngboy didn't build this on his own. The place he came from built it into him. Kentrell Gaulden was born on October 20th,
this is gonna be
1999
tough.
in Baton Rouge.
This is gonna be a tough documentary. Hold on. I'm gonna turn the TikTok on for this one. This one might be a tough ass documentary. Hold on. We gotta turn on the TikTok for these kids, you know. Gotta get the TikTokers in here. Wait a second, you know. I gotta get this shit booted up, suited up, loaded up, cooted up. I gotta go wash my face and fucking.
Louisiana. And if you know anything about Baton Rouge, you know it's one of the roughest cities in the country. Serious gang activity and a kind of poverty that doesn't let go of you once it has its grip. His father caught a 55-year prison sentence when Kentrell was still a baby, so his grandmother raised him. As a toddler, he broke his neck wrestling and had to wear a brace until it healed, which is where those scars on his forehead come from. He grew up in the middle of all of it, and he lived it long before he ever rapped about it. He dropped out in 9th grade. At 14, he bought a microphone from Walmart and started recording. And before the music ever turned into anything, he got arrested for robbery and did 6 months in a juvenile facility in Tallulah, where he started writing his first songs. By the time he got out, his grandmother had passed. He moved in with a friend, another Baton Rouge rapper named NBA 33, and the two of them were committing crimes just to pay for studio time. So when you hear him rap about this stuff, understand, it's not content. He actually lived every bit of it. That's exactly
You're talking about it's not content. Holy shit.
Exactly what made him blow up. He dropped his first tape, Life Before Fame, in 2015. Then, in October 2016, came 38
This is what I found him, 38
Baby, and that one took off. Millions of views. Cosigns from Baton Rouge legends like Boozy and Kevin Gates. Kids from the same kind of place heard him rapping about death and paranoia and burying his friends, and they knew he meant it. Within 3 years, he stacked 3 #1 albums in under a
Them bitches all slap. All these albums slap. All them bitches
year.
slap.
Something only DMX had ever done. But that same city gave him something that shows up in every single case he's ever faced. In Baton Rouge, you don't talk to police. Not because it's some slogan, because people there have watched what happens to the ones who cooperate, and they know the state can't keep them safe when it's over. So witnesses go quiet. Statements get walked back. Keep that in the back of your mind, because it's about to turn into a pattern. One quiet witness is a coincidence. What happens to this man over the next 10 years is a streak. And a streak that long usually means somebody's got a reason to keep it going. So let's get into that first case, because it set the blueprint for everything that came after. In November of 2016, Youngboy was still an up-and-comer, riding the buzz off 38 Baby. Then, U.S. Marshals arrested him in Austin, Texas, right before a concert. The charge wasn't small. small. Prosecutors said that back in Baton Rouge, he jumped out of a vehicle and opened fire on a group of people standing on a South Baton Rouge street. Attempted first-degree murder. Sit with that for a second. He was 16 when it happened, and the state charged him as an adult. Attempted murder is the kind of charge that ends a career before it starts. We're talking
100%.
decades in prison. For a kid who just gotten his first taste of real attention, this should have been the end of the story. And they didn't have a thin case. There was a shooting, there were victims, there was a vehicle, and they'd identified Youngboy as one of the shooters. On paper, the state had what it needed to put him away for a very long time. But here's where that Baton Rouge factor kicks in for the first time. To convict someone of a drive-by, you need people willing to get on a stand and say what they saw. And in those neighborhoods, that's exactly what you're never going to get. The people who could have testified understood the math better than any lawyer. You don't cooperate because cooperating doesn't come with any protection once the trial's over. So the case that looked solid started coming apart at the seams. He sat in jail from December 2016 through the following summer, and even locked up, he kept dropping music, re-releasing tapes and putting out songs like Win or Lose that fans ate up while he was behind bars. The legend was growing while the case was shrinking. By the time it was over, the 2 counts of attempted murder were gone. In August of 2017, he took a plea to a single count of aggravated assault with a firearm. A 10-year sentence, fully suspended, 3 years of probation, no active prison time. He walked out, and a week later dropped a single called Untouchable.
Untouchable, that's
started for him.
This is probably the best song he's ever dropped. I ain't gonna lie. This is probably the best song he's ever dropped. This bitch is still hot to me. What's good, Ben? What's good, Ben? This is probably the best song he's damn near ever dropped.
That feeling. You
Untouchable.
catch 2 attempted murder charges as a
Untouchable.
teenager, you're staring down decades, and then you just walk. That does something to a person. The bravado you see in him for the rest of his career, that sense he can do whatever he wants and always land on his feet, it traces right back to here. The system took its best shot and missed. And if this were the only time, you'd call it exactly what it looks like. A kid from a
What are
city
we
that
doing? We
won't
just
talk to
chilling,
police,
reacting
catching
and
a
shit?
break. Remember that explanation because it works for a while.
I gotta go shower and wash my face. I didn't pick this fucking pimple today. Should not have. And that bitch like scarred up on me.
Because right as that first case was wrapping up, Youngboy's career went vertical. The back half
Tigers
of
won?
2017
Wow.
into 2018
Surprising.
is when he stopped being a Baton Rouge name and became a national one. A deal with Atlantic Records put major label money and machinery behind him for the first time. Then in January 2018,
This is when
he
he started
dropped
to
Outside
pop,
Today.
nigga.
That
This is when
song
he
hit
was
the top
popping.
40, went quadruple platinum,
This when
and
this
became
nigga
the
started to
anthem
pop.
that introduced him to millions of people who'd never touched a
Hang on,
mixtape.
outside
His debut
today.
album, Until Death Call My Name, landed in the top 10. He was 19, with real money for the
19.
first time in his life. Kids were on the way. His relationships were messy, public,
Jania,
and playing out.
holy shit. This remind me of my old girl. This remind me of my old girl when I was young. Oh my God, me and her were so toxic. Me and her were so toxic.
In front of millions online. The
You got
pain
the
was still
Angels
all
tomorrow?
over the music,
I mean,
but
the
now he was living a completely
Royals
different life than the
starting
one
till
that
Sunday?
created it. And that's the thing about Youngboy. The
Okay,
chaos
okay.
in his personal life never slowed down to
Jania.
match the success. If anything, it sped up. Which brings us to Georgia. In February of
up.
2018, an outstanding warrant caught up with him for assault, kidnapping, and weapons charges. This one wasn't about a street shooting. It was about his girlfriend at the time. Prosecutors said surveillance cameras in a hotel in Waycross, Georgia, caught him body slamming her in a hallway and then dragging her into a room. They said blood was found in that room afterward. On paper, that's a horrific case, and it's the kind that's very hard to walk back, because it's not a he said, she said. It's
This
on
nigga-
camera.
this
So how did
nigga
it end?
doing the
A
most.
$75,000 bail and not much else. And the reason comes down to one person, the girlfriend herself.
Jania.
She went public to deny that any abuse ever happened, and she didn't do it once. She made it her mission to take the heat off him, going on camera more than once to insist the case wasn't what it looked like.
She said there was plan. I remember this.
Here's how that actually works. You can have the whole thing on CCTV. You can have the buildup on video for everybody to see. But if the alleged victim gets up and says nothing criminal happened,
I don't even watch baseball at all, my nigga,
the key witness and the victim are the same person. And when that person won't cooperate, the case has nowhere to stand. So the picture's still simple. He's a guy who knows how to make a case disappear, whether it's a street full of people who won't talk or someone close to him who takes the heat off. That's the story a lot of people stop at, but what's coming next reaches a lot higher than the streets of Baton Rouge. By the time 2019 came around, Youngboy wasn't a rapper with buzz anymore. He was a machine.
Yeah, he was hot. He was dropping shit.
Alive.
He was
dropping music faster than the industry could package it, with a fan base that treated every release like an event. His personal life was spinning in every direction at once.
I mean, he's the sickest, nigga.
Mothers, relationships that detonated in public and got stitched into the songs a week later.
Always remember that first love. Always remember that first love, Jania. Man, I got a first love too. She hate my stupid ass though. I'm glad I ain't got no kid from me though.
The pain that built him was still the engine. He was just running it at 140 miles an hour now. And that speed is exactly what kept putting him in rooms where things went wrong. Which is how we get to Miami, May 2019. He's booked for Rolling Loud, one of the biggest rap festivals in the country. But the thing that matters didn't happen on stage. It happened on Mother's Day, outside the Trump International Beach Resort where he was staying. He's walking out with his people when a Cadillac Escalade rolls up, and someone inside just starts shooting at him. A real ambush. His girlfriend at the time, Kaylin Long, takes a round to the shoulder. A 5-year-old kid nearby gets grazed. And Youngboy's crew, legally armed, opens fire back at the Escalade. Then comes the part that turns this from a headline into a tragedy. In that crossfire, a bullet kills a 43-year-old man named Mohammed Dradi, sitting in his van across the street. He worked in the area. He had nothing to do with any of it. He died on Mother's Day because he was parked near a rapper he probably never listened to. Now here's where it stops adding up. A man is dead. The bullets came from Youngboy's own entourage, and when the smoke clears, not one person in his camp is charged with anything. Miami-Dade police rule it self-defense. His people were fired on first, and everybody detained walks. Somebody died, and the machine around Youngboy absorbed it like it was nothing. And think about where this is happening. This is Miami, a different state, a different police force, thousands of witnesses with phones. The one explanation we've been leaning on, that his hometown protects him, doesn't even apply here, and he still comes out clean. The only thing that touched him was his own paperwork. Being at a shooting, around guns, violated the probation from his 2016 case. That got him 90 days, a 14-month performance ban, and house arrest. That's the whole bill for a Mother's Day shooting that left a man dead. And this is the turning point, so pay attention. Everything you've watched up to now, he did himself.
This nigga be escaping trouble. Holy fuck.
His silence, his connections, his hometown, his lawyers.
He dropped the song with
a
Ski
straight
Mask.
Line from Youngboy.
He was just dropping songs too this whole time.
Right about here, that line stops being straight. Because what happens next, he could not have pulled off on his own. The next time the system comes for him, it comes with the full weight of the federal government. The people who win 90% of the time and almost never lose. And that's the exact moment his luck gets impossible to explain. Because what he was worth by this point had stopped making normal sense. In 2021, he dropped Sincerely Kentrell while he was sitting in a jail cell.
This shit slapped. This album slapped.
And it debuted at #1. Only 2 artists in history had ever put out a chart-topping album from behind bars, Tupac and Lil Wayne. He was locked up and still outselling rappers who were free and on tour. His YouTube channel was climbing toward 15 billion views. He was releasing music so fast the industry couldn't keep up. Over 140 projects and songs across his career.
Keep up. I kept up with your ass,
while he was fighting cases or under house arrest. Sit with what that means, because it changes the whole story. Wherever you put NBA Youngboy, a jail cell, house arrest, federal supervision, he prints cash. For himself, for his label, for the streaming platforms, for everyone standing near his career taking a cut. And that's when the question quietly flips. For the first half of his story, the question was how does he keep getting out? But once he's a one-man industry making money from inside a cell, a different question creeps in.
And he does this shit with no features too. No features. That shit's crazy.
How does he get out? Who actually wants him in? Because a young boy in prison and a young boy free are worth wildly different amounts of money. And when someone generates that kind of money for that many powerful people, there's an incentive sitting under everything, spoken or not, to keep that machine running. Nobody has to send a memo. Nobody has to make a call. The pressure exists on its own. I can't tell you there's some secret room where they decided to protect him. Nobody can prove that. But watch what the pattern does once he crosses into this level of value. Before, the escapes had street explanations. Now he's beating the federal government itself and walking out bigger than he walked in. He even started daring them, right in the music. On house arrest in that Utah mansion, he turned it into a studio and kept recording, openly taunting the feds, rapping about them knowing his name-dropping Utah while he was literally sitting in it. Most people under federal supervision try to disappear. Youngboy was releasing songs about it, because he'd learned the lesson over and over. They come for him, and somehow he stays free. Until 2024, when one case finally came along that his money, his lawyers, and his silence had no answer for. For almost 3 years, he'd been in that Utah mansion on house arrest, waiting on his Baton Rouge trial. And in April of 2024, the case that got him didn't come from a shooting or a gun. Cache County police raided the mansion and arrested him for allegedly running a prescription fraud ring out of the house. The scheme was specific. Someone would call a pharmacy pretending to be a real doctor, using that doctor's actual DEA number and credentials, and order promethazine with codeine, the syrup used to make lean. Fake patient names, fake birthdays. Then Youngboy's associates would drive around picking the orders up from different pharmacies. Investigators tied at least 15 of them across the state to it. When they searched the mansion, they found the drugs under the fake names, and, again, a gun. He ended up facing 63 charges: identity fraud, forgery, obtaining prescriptions under false pretenses, stacked 20 counts deep. And this one had a problem none of the—
Nigga, that sounds like... It sounds like you're never getting out of this.
The others did. Every time before, what saved him was that the evidence came down to a person, a witness who went quiet, a victim who recanted, a gun nobody could pin to him. You can't do any of that to a pharmacy's phone records. Documents don't get scared.
I love this nigga Youngboy, and
Then
this
came
is
the
so
part that
stupid
had to hurt.
what he
The
did.
man beat the feds because they could never put words in his mouth. And what cracked this case was his own voice. Police pulled his car over during a pickup, then got him on a phone call. And at one point, thinking he was on mute, he was caught saying, "Ask him about the prescription that they picked up." Everything he'd built ran on saying nothing and leaving no trace. And there he was on a recorded line asking about the exact prescriptions at the center of the case. His way of saying that one word, ax, instead of ask, was part of how they'd identified him to begin with. A federal judge voided the house arrest and ordered him into custody. And this time, there was no slipping out. In December of 2024, he took a global plea that closed the Utah charges and both federal gun cases in one move. Guilty, 23 months. So after 10 years, they finally had him. Convicted, sentenced, on his way to federal prison. The streak was over. And then, 5 months later, the President of the United States personally erased it. On May 28, 2025, Donald Trump signed a pardon for Kentrell Gaulden, a full presidential pardon, wiping the federal conviction off the board completely, along with the 5 years of probation, the drug testing, and the $200,000 fine that came with it. And think about the timing. He'd been released to home confinement back in March, with a massive comeback tour already being planned. Probation would have meant drug tests, travel restrictions, supervision, all the things that make it hard to tour and run a business. And right at that moment, the most powerful man in the world cleared all of it away, handing Youngboy a clean slate at the exact moment he needed one to get back to making money. Every other escape in this story, you could trace to something on the ground. The streets, the lawyers, a jury, the money. A presidential pardon doesn't come from any of that. It comes from one man in the Oval Office deciding your case is worth his signature. And here's the part that keeps people up at night. Youngboy has no obvious connection to Donald Trump. He's not a political figure. He didn't campaign.
The craziest part is he made a song about Donald Trump in like 2018 or 2017. It was "Fuck Donald Trump." Or what is that song? Let me see if I can look it up real quick. red rum. Literally, he has a song saying "fuck Donald Trump" in 2018. Literally, right here. What the fuck? Yo, this nigga's anything.
The pardon came in a batch alongside reality
nigga's
TV
anything,
stars and
bro.
politicians. In a stretch of clemency, Trump's own pardon office described with the phrase, "No MAGA left behind." When reporters looked at the list, Youngboy was one of the names that made the least sense being on it. He thanked Trump, the pardon czar Alice Marie Johnson, and his attorney, and moved on. No real explanation for how a Baton Rouge rapper landed on the desk of the President of the United States. So step back and look at the whole shape of it. For 10 years, the answer to how he keeps getting out had an address. The streets that wouldn't talk. The girlfriend who recanted, the jury that doubted, the lawyers who delivered. But the higher he climbed and the more valuable he became, the higher the help seemed to come from. Until the final save didn't come from Baton Rouge, or a courtroom, or a defense team at all.
Crazy,
it came
when
from
you
the
put
White
that shit
House.
back.
That's the pattern that makes
that
people
song
say
was
the word
dropped in like
a
2018
protected
or something like that.
Somebody
bro.
too valuable to too many important people to ever actually be allowed to fall. 10 years. Attempted murder, a kidnapping,
October.
a man dead in Miami, 2 federal gun cases, a 60-count fraud ring. Any one of them buries a normal man. He walked through all of them. Maybe that's the lucky...
This nigga Youngboy is like damn near untouchable almost. That's fucking wild. Dude, he is getting out of harm's way with these charges. I gotta go and shower and wash my face. I'll put this on for y'all.
If you're so profitable, why do you sell a course? Well, you know what? Here you go. I don't care. It's all free. I'm giving it away. We have like 6 different courses in here. The same strategies that made me a full-time trader. And we have like 24,000 members.
Get him right there. He's like, bang on my door like that. You know? Stop, don't put your fucking hands on me. Take your phone. No. Okay, Rick, can I get her phone? What? She is banned from the property. Please stop. Stop.